The teaser movie poster. Sparse, vague, and a touch of mystery. A killer teaser poster should give you just enough to make you curious without revealing any critical details. In this video, I've challenged myself to create teaser posters for 3 upcoming blockbuster movies. First up, we'll be creating a teaser poster for the upcoming Pixar movie, Toy Story 5. Toy Story 5 could go in numerous directions, but in this teaser, we're venturing down the track where now grown-up toy mutilator Sid is hunting down Woody with an aim to prove to the world that toys can talk. Before we dive in, a quick shout out to Skillshare for sponsoring this video. The idea is to create a conspiracy wall in Sid's bedroom. Yep, he's still living with his parents.
You like guacamole?
He's been on a mission, tracking Woody and the gang throughout the whole series. A bit meta, but it could make for a fun teaser poster. So I'm making a start on Sid's room and a cork wall for him to place all his evidence on. I'll just mask away the sections in front on the desk, and this bottom section here so we can see the wood behind. Then we'll do some quick computer repair, get rid of these glasses, and fill in the screen. Now, Sid has a red desk, so we need to change the color of this one. I'll just start to fill that red in, and then use the paintbrush where it needs a bit more accuracy. Okay, let's darken up this corkboard, and then we can start filling it with evidence. Just reveal a bit of light here. Okay, we've got a nice setup now for Sid's investigation. I'm going to start introducing various forms of paper which we can spread out across the wall. For things like this, there's usually a lot of guesswork in the beginning in order to find the right placement and composition. I expect we'll be moving things around quite a lot throughout the whole process. We're just going to keep building it up until we get something like this. Now we'll get those pinned to the wall. We're going to include pictures of key locations from each film in the series. This is to represent Sid tracking their progress. So we'll clip these images to the appropriate piece of paper. We've got Pizza Planet from the first one, Al's Toy Barn, Sunnyside Daycare, and the Carnival. Next, I'll just mask away any appropriate parts so the folds in the paper show up. And now we're going to use some string like you see on an evidence wall connecting different items. It's also going to provide us with a cool opportunity for a design element, which will become clearer soon. So we've got our string cut out. And now we're going to place these pieces of string connecting the different locations, but also as a design element, we're going to have them form the number 5. And eventually we get this. I've decided to go with white because the red was a little bit difficult to read, but now that's in place we can add some shadows, add a little bit of blur, and we'll brush in a little bit more shadow so that 5 pops a little bit more. Draw in an arrow to emphasize the starting point. Right now, it's not very obvious that it's Sid's room, so we're going to add some items that make this a bit clearer, starting with this mug, and of course we're going to add Sid's iconic t-shirt design on there. Set that to overlay, another little Easter egg with the magnifying glass. That's going to give Woody some flashbacks. Let's go with a newspaper headline to put here. Now, we need something to represent Woody, so I think we'll do that with a drawing. I have this picture of Woody, and if we use the neural filters and go to style transfer, that's going to create a nice sketched looking visual. And then we can simply set the blending mode to darken, adding in a light bulb which is going to create a bit more atmosphere and allow us to make the lighting a bit more dynamic. Then some overall lighting and filters before we call it finished. And here's the final result. I really like the overall concept and idea for this one and the story it tells. I've stripped it back quite a lot, going for a simpler desk layout with more focus on Easter eggs. It does still require some effort and time to unravel the story, which may or may not be ideal for a teaser poster. Despite already having a good grasp on movie poster design, I'm looking to deepen my understanding of typography. And that's where the sponsor of this video, Skillshare, proves invaluable. With Skillshare's wide range of topics including illustration, video editing, and graphic design, filled with dedicated Photoshop and Illustrator classes, it didn't take me long to find exactly what I was looking for. The graphic design for beginners class by Smitesh Mystery allowed me to delve deeper into the world of typography and gain a better overall understanding of the subject. The lesson on hierarchy hierarchy was particularly eye-opening. This class actually got me really thinking about the psychology and power of text within poster work. While I typically lean towards the artistic side of a movie poster, this class drives home the importance of a perfectly placed, simple piece of text. I then followed this up with another class, Typography 101, The Secret to Beautiful Movie Posters, which showcased the use of type hierarchy in real time. Skillshare is the largest online learning community designed by creatives for creatives, with thousands of inspiring classes led by industry experts. Skillshare is ideal for anyone who is looking to discover a new skill, level up, or refine an existing skill set. The first 500 people to use the link will get a 1-month free trial of Skillshare. Link in the description. Next up, we have Tron Ares. There isn't much known about the next installment of the Tron franchise, except for the somewhat vague synopsis featuring Jared Leto as an AI infiltrating our world to complete a dangerous mission. So for this teaser poster, I reckon it'd be neat to bring in the Sea of Simulation, that digital ocean from Tron Legacy, to symbolize the gateway between the Tron system and the real world. So imagine a hand bursting through, shifting from program to human form, gripping onto a unique identity disc like you see in the marketing images. And this is what I'm going to try to create. Working with different water images, I'll be increasing the contrast so we can bring out the brighter areas, which we can then select using the color range tool, and that's going to give us these cool, fluid looking highlights. All I need to do then is alter the colors and position them. I'll then repeat this step with various different stock photos of water, gradually building up this nice layer of water reflections and highlights. This one's a great example. You can see all the potential in these highlights. I'll often use this technique to create certain magical or electrical effects, and adding some outer glow takes it to the next level. Okay, slowly building up this water surface. I love this grid effect. It's going to be perfect for giving our water a subtle digitized look. Simply set the layer blending mode to color dodge and change the colors. Time to introduce that hand bursting through from the Tron system into the real world. I'll start by cutting that out, and then we'll get it into position somewhere about there. Use a soft round brush to erase the bottom, and just tweak that brightness and contrast. Next, I'll use the puppet warp tool just to bring those fingers slightly closer together. Next, we're going to grab some armor to cover the arm. Just make a selection. I think I'll remove the glove section. And then I'll just lower the opacity so I can get that into position. About there. Then I'll just make a few adjustments to the lighting and erase that bottom section with a soft brush. Now we've got to get some of those iconic glowing light strips in there. A simple block of color with some layer styles should do the trick. And set the layer blending mode to color dodge. Painting in a little bit of shadow under the armor. Let's get that light disc in there. We're going to pull this from the official promotional material and simply place that behind the hand so it looks like he's grasping onto it. I'll then use a selective color adjustment layer to fine-tune the colors of the hand, and color overlay to paint in some red highlights. For highlights, I like to set the brush flow to about 20% so I've got a bit more control with my stylus pen. And finally, we'll paint in some nice subtle glows for the lights. So here's what we get. This was a pretty easy one to put together. It's a simple concept and the idea was nice and clear in my mind, which allowed me to execute it efficiently. I also couldn't resist giving it that retro touch with some VHS style textures. And for our final teaser poster, to be more precise, the Batman 2. Now, there's been a lot of debate online about which villain is going to take the spotlight in Matt Reeves' next installment of the Batman. I'm going with one of my personal favorites, Jonathan Crane, aka the Scarecrow.
Marvelous. Simply marvelous.
I don't want to actually show the Batman or the Scarecrow. You see this a lot with superhero teaser posters. Also, every now and then I'll have an idea that I wish I hadn't had, because I know what a challenge it'll be to bring this idea to life in Photoshop. And well, this might be one of those times. I'm definitely planning to incorporate the Batman's mask. I just need to figure out how to blend it with the Scarecrow. So the plan is to try and create the Batman's mask out of straw and twigs and stuff. There's a good chance this goes horribly wrong. Anyway, of course, we're gonna give it a go, so let's crack on with it. I'll start by using this stock image of a nest. This is gonna give us a nice layer of interwoven sticks and twigs. I'm gonna use the Batman mask underneath as kind of a guide for the lighting and shape. And I'll just create some highlights and shadows to give us a basic shape to work with. Something like that. Let's cut out some eye shapes. Fill those with black. And I'll use another nest image to create the bottom section of the mask. Next up for the ears, these pointy sections of straw should do the job nicely. Just cut that out, move that over, and then I'll use the distort tool to get that into a similar shape. Alter the brightness and contrast, and then we'll change the hue. And one more for the other side. We'll add in some vertical lines of straw for the nose section. And then I'm just going to overlay the mask and lower the opacity just to allow some of the form to come through. We're going to mask away most of it. Paint in some shadow so it feels planted to the floor. And next we're just going to include some scattered bits of hay along the ground. Painting shadow for all these bits would take a long time, so I'm just going to use a drop shadow layer style. Touch up some of the edges with a bit of brushwork. And eventually we get something like this. Not completely terrible, I hope. Next up, we're going to add the Scarecrow's Fear toxin. Just put it in the sack in the bottom right. This will allow us to introduce a nice pop of colour into the piece, which is otherwise quite dark and drab. Just going to paint in some shadow. And then a green overlay adjustment layer to create some subtle green highlights given off from the green liquid inside. There we go. And then we're going to add some thick green smoke billowing out of the vial. Find a rough position for that. I'll then set the layer blending mode to screen, adjust the brightness and contrast, and fine tune that position. And with a smoke brush, just mask away the bits we don't want. A little bit over here. And some overall filters just to bring it home. And here's what we end up with. So I definitely had my concerns with this one. It's hard to say whether I fully stuck the landing or not. The whole poster lives and dies on the end result of that mask. But I do enjoy a challenge, and this was certainly that. Now, if you want to see me create more epic alternative posters for iconic movies, be sure to watch this video right here.